All right, my name is Sophia Giordano, and today I'm going to be talking about addressing teacher burnout and mental health. So, what does teacher burnout look like? It's a chronic workplace stress that hasn't been managed successfully, and addressing this is not only about teachers as individuals, but the future of education as a whole, because it doesn't only affect teachers, but it can affect students and the system. Burnout in teachers doesn't come from one cause. It's a result of many different challenges that can come from the education system. So the first one is the increased workload. COVID was actually a really large part about why teachers are going through burnout right now. It really blurred the lines between work and personal life. Because with teachers, they were balancing out, obviously, taking care of their children at home while teaching their students online. So the endless grading and adapting to new technology made it really, really challenging. The second one is the low pay and the lack of recognition. I feel like it's been known for a while that teachers are really overworked and very underpaid. And this financial strain adds another layer of stress because they're doing so much and they're not getting the credit for it. The next one is the pressure to stay neutral. Teachers have to remain neutral on topics like racism and politics, and this can be really hard for them, especially because teachers can be part of minority groups themselves, and these issues can affect their students as well, so it can be really hard for them to stay neutral. And then, just like that, systematic issues also have a large play. The large class sizes, understaffing, and the limited administrative support make things hard. So when teachers are juggling out grading papers, behavioral issues, all the kind of things they do with minimal help, it can make things really hard, and the stress kind of grows and grows and grows. All right, the effects of teacher burnout ripple far beyond the individual teacher. So it can have impacts on, obviously, the teachers, on students, and on the system as well. So the impact on students is burnout can lead to major mental health issues like anxiety and depression. And many teachers have actually left the profession altogether because of these issues, which the school systems obviously can't afford. Obviously on students, if teachers don't feel well mentally, obviously they won't be able to work at their best. And I feel like in every situation, students kind of can pick up on everything. So students can notice when their teachers aren't engaged, which obviously can negatively impact their learning. And then obviously on the system, it costs so much money to hire and train new teachers. We can't afford to constantly be doing this. And since COVID was recently, I feel like the teachers that we have right now are going to continue to just drop and drop if we don't do something about this. All right, so while burnout is obviously a big challenge, there are numerous ways we can address it, and we can help too. So the first thing is union adequacy. So teacher unions advocate for better pay, smaller class sizes, and an easier work condition, which has led to many agreements in the system. So I know my mom personally is also a teacher, and a couple of years ago she went on strike for higher pay, and her school district actually ended up paying teachers more. Policy changes. Policymakers, I feel like, need to limit large class sizes, give teachers guaranteed planning so they actually have time to plan, so their schedules are always so packed, and an increased pay. And along with this, the administration, they should have people aiding them for extra help around the classroom. And then even at school level changes, obviously all schools are different, but each one can do something to help. So I came up with, they can be offered flexible schedules, whether it's maternity leave if someone's pregnant, or even mental health days. If teachers obviously aren't mentally there, how can they be expected to teach? And then lastly, strategizing on their own, peer support groups and professional learning communities can help as well. However, obviously, teachers can't do everything, and they can't fix a broken education system on their own. So just some ethical considerations when I was thinking about this issue. It affects the students almost as much as the teachers. I think this is a lot of what people forget a lot of the times. The reason teachers do what they do is because they care about their students so much. So at the end, we think about it, how can teachers meet their ethical obligations to students if they're barely coping themselves? The reality is that a burnout teacher can't give their best to students. And addressing burnout isn't just about reducing stress, it's about ensuring that the teachers can fulfill their ethical commitments without sacrificing their well-being. So just making sure that the teachers always have a good well-being. And then for the conclusion, teacher burnout is a systematic issue that affects obviously not just teachers like we talked about, but students and society as a whole. Addressing burnout requires action at multiple levels. So, like we talked about, schools need to provide more support, unions must continue advocating for change, and policymakers also need to be making some changes to make teacher well-being seriously. And with myself being a future teacher and my mom, who is a teacher right now, it's always important to remember to advocate for ourselves and each other. If we make the education system a supportive community, burnout is not inevitable. And then these are my citations.